Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a classic RC question. Will putting an MIP Super Ball differential into your Tamiya frog actually make it faster?
Yeah, it's a good one. And faster isn't always straightforward, is it? Are we talking raw top speed
Mhm.
or maybe acceleration or
Yeah,
just reliable speed?
exactly. We're focusing on the Tamiya frog, that iconic buggy from the early 80s, the ORV chassis.
Oh,
Super cool.
total classic. But anyone who's pushed one knows that stock differential. It could be a
Uh,
bit of a weak link, especially with hotter motors.
Right. So that's our mission today. Figure out the real performance trade-offs of this MIP upgrade, especially looking at a few different motor options.
Let's dive in.
Okay, first up, let's quickly break down the stock frog gearing. You've got your motor pinion.
Usually a 16, 18, or 19 tooth.
Right. Then the counter gear assembly that's got the outer spur gear and an inner pinion gear. And then, of course, the differential itself.
And the key thing is how these gears mesh to give you your overall ratio. Think higher numbers like 8.1 versus 6.1. That higher number means more torque multiplication.
So better acceleration, quicker off the mark.
Yep. But the trade-off is usually a lower potential top speed, lower numerical ratio, less acceleration, but theoretically a higher top end.
And we measure this overall effect with the final drive ratio, the FDR.
Correct. Now, the Frog has that fixed motor mount, which kind of limits your choices directly.
So what are the stock options based on the pinions?
Okay, so with the 19-tooth pinion, you're looking at an FDR around 6.7 to 1. That's your lowest number, highest theoretical speed.
And the 18 tooth.
That gives you about 7.3 to 1, kind of the middle ground, balanced.
Yeah, and the 16 tooth.
That bumps it up to about 8.5 to 1. Best acceleration, lowest theoretical top speed of the stock options.
Got it. So those are our benchmarks. Now enter the MIP Super Ball differential. This isn't just a stronger gear, right?
No, not at all. It's a completely different design. It uses ball bearings inside, which allows for smoother power delivery, less slip compared to the stock open diff,
Yeah.
where one wheel can just spin away power.
Plus it's tougher, rebuildable, sounds like a solid upgrade, but there's a twist with the gearing, isn't there?
Ah, yes. This is crucial. The MIP diff gear itself is a 48 tooth, not 47 like stock.
Okay.
And to make that mesh correctly in the Frog gearbox, you have to use a counter gear assembly from like a Tamiya Blackfoot.
And that's different how?
The Blackfoot counter gear has a 17-tooth inner pinion. The stock Frog one has 18 teeth.
Ah, okay, so different counter gear.
And because of that counter gear and the Frog's fixed motor mount, you're basically locked into using a 16-tooth motor pinion with the MIP setup. No other option fits.
Wow, okay. So MIP diff means Blackfoot counter gear means 16-tooth pinion only. What does that do to the FDR?
Well, you run the numbers with a 48T disc, the 17T inner pinion on the counter gear, and the 16T motor pinion. You end up with an FDR around 9.2 to 1.
9.2 to 1. That's numerically higher than any of the stock options.
Exactly. On paper, it suggests even more acceleration bias and an even lower theoretical top speed compared to stock.
Interesting. But how does this actually play out with different motors? Let's consider, say, the standard Silver Can 540, the dirt-tuned, and the sport-tuned.
Okay, yeah. With the basic Silver Can, that 9.2.1 MIP setup will definitely feel punchier, accelerate quicker than stock.
But the top speed will be lower than using, say, the stock 18 or 19 tooth pinions.
Theoretically, yes. For just a Silver Can, the stock 18-tooth setup is probably the best all-around balance of speed and acceleration, assuming the diff holds up.
Okay, now what about the dirt-tuned motor? More torque there.
Right. Here's where the MIP starts to shine. That 9.2.1 ratio gives good acceleration, and critically, the MIP diff can handle the dirt tune's extra torque without grenading.
Ah, so reliability becomes a factor. You could run the stock 19 tooth for higher top speed potential with the dirt-tuned.
But you're seriously risking that stock differential.
Yeah.
And just wasn't designed for that stress.
Hmm.
So the MIP lets you actually use the power reliably.
Makes sense. Usable speed, not just theoretical speed. And with the sport tuned, that's even higher RPM, more demanding.
Yeah, with the sport tuned, forget about the stock differential on the taller gears like the 18 or 19T. It's almost certain failure.
So the MIP becomes pretty much essential.
Highly recommended, I'd say. Even though the 9.2.1 FDR is still numerically high, the fact that the MIP diff won't just, explode means you get consistent performance run after run.
And that consistency, that reliability often feels faster, doesn't it? Knowing you can push it.
Absolutely. It's not just the raw numbers.
Yeah.
The MIP's ball diff design itself delivers power more smoothly, too. Less wheel spin, maybe.
Better traction, better durability.
Yep.
It's more than just the ratio.
Definitely. And just quickly, Some people do fit adjustable motor mounts.
Ah, right, to get around the fixed mount limitation.
Yeah, that could potentially let you run a slightly larger pinion, maybe a 17T, with the MIP and Blackfoot counter gear setup. That would lower the FDR a bit.
But you're still using the Blackfoot counter gear.
Still using the Blackfoot counter gear so you won't get down to those super low stock 19T ECR numbers.
Yeah.
And you might have clearance issues. It's more of a modder's path.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it seems faster is definitely more complicated than just one number.
It really is. The MIP setup, with its mandatory 16T pinion and resulting 9.2.1 FDR, does have a lower theoretical top speed than the stock 18T or 19T options.
And this is the big but.
But its reliability, especially with anything beyond a stock silver can motor, means you can actually use the power you have consistently. That often translates to a car that feels faster, is certainly more durable, and frankly, probably more fun to drive hard.
So it's about robustness winning out over maybe peak fragile performance.
Well put. And that actually brings up a neat little thought experiment for you listening. Think about it. Where else in life, maybe tech or projects or even habits, where might focusing on reliability and consistent performance rather than just chasing the absolute theoretical maximum actually lead to a better, more capable overall result?
Something to chew on. That's all for this deep dive.